Alright folks, it's been a long time since we've been on the old Master of Duels, but we are back with my good buddy Visa Starfrost, and we're going to be taking a little tour today of all four of the planets that make up the Visa Starfrost lore, or variants, whatever you want to call it. This is definitely not the most optimal way to play a combo of these four different archetypes that all in some ways do overlap. It's not a perfect synergy, and certain archetypes do synergize a little bit better than others, but this is basically just me jamming all of the best cards from all four of those archetypes into one deck. We're really not playing any hand traps, barely any board breaker cards, so this is absolutely not the most optimal way to play it, just a fun way of putting a lot of my favorite cards into one deck. And in the spirit of remaining true to the archetypes, I am trying to play as many of the Heart boss monsters as possible. Kaleido Heart, the Arise Heart, and the Tri Heart are all very doable, meaning like being able to be summoned in this deck. Prime Heart as well for the Manadium, but that card is just terribly underpowered compared to its other brothers in the Visas family. It's kind of like the redheaded stepchild, I guess you could say. Kind of unfortunate because I do like Synchros and I enjoy Manadium as well. And last note here before we jump into the first replay, I was trying to include, we have so many spells and traps now that mention Visa Starfrost, which are all obviously searchable by the Visas Amritara, and most of them are just really bad. This one seemed kind of cool, especially in this type of a deck, the Locus Samsara, which basically you're going to banish a Visas, or in this case, any card that is called Visas on the field, which could be like our Visa Samsara, or again, the Amritara. And what the Locus Samsara is going to allow you to do is banish that monster until the end phase, so it will come back, and then you're going to special summon one of those Heart boss monsters that we were talking about before, with 3000 attack from your extra deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. So in this case, I'm mainly using this to just cheat out the Arise Heart for one turn, because in some cases that's going to hurt us more than help us. But you know, setting this going first, and then if our opponent's playing a graveyard heavy deck, bringing out the Arise Heart could just be an extra layer of protection in order to disrupt our opponent, or even the potential of, you know, pulling out the Kaleido Heart, spinning a card back on summon, going into the first replay here. So like I said, haven't been on Master Duel in a while, but Dean and I both have been getting back into it. So that being said, not in the highest rank right now, but we did still get some pretty interesting duels. And the first one that I'm going to show you was pretty hilarious, actually. So somewhat of a mirror match. This person is playing a 40-card pure, a Tearlaments deck with you know, the normal bells and whistles kind of. So they're going to King Sark to send away their Rainbow Bridge to get the field spell. Well, actually, they're getting the Horus field spell. Kind of a cool play. But they're basically going to build a full power Tearlament board for the most part. Okay, and you notice they just discarded with the Imseti their Ash. So in my head, I'm thinking maybe they have 2 Ash in the hand, but that turns out to not be the case. And as you can see, we have the grass in our hand. And we are a 60-card deck. They're going to mill out a ton of their deck as well, so that's just going to further add to the power of that grass look screener. Yep, and they're going to... playing this all pretty well here. The whole send Kit Cow, bring out Tearlament Cash to mill a bunch. We'll speed up their turn a little bit. Okay, Rukalos, Time Thief Redoer, SP, and then, yeah, they use the 2 level 8s for the Photon Lord, so Monster Negate, Special Summon Negate, the SP nonsense, and Time Thief. Time Thief stole the Birth, which is not a big deal. Alright. Slow it down here for our turn. So Unicorn, they're going to Havnis. So we grab the other Birth in our deck. Now we're trying to banish from the extra deck, which I'm going to obviously banish the Kaleido Heart. So kind of forcing them to negate with the Photon Lord. Visa Samsara goes into the Lightheart, of course. And, okay, fairly, you know, smart play here. At first I was like, what is the point of them doing this? But with the field spell, we're going to get Reichardt, and now we have no place to special summon the Reichardt, or so they think. But we end up grabbing Visas anyway. They're going to Rukalos negate as I try to pop the Unicorn, which is fine by me because now I have Visas in the graveyard with a 15-2100. So off of that negate, they send the Hobness on the field, bring out Kaleido, spin back the field spell, which is really not doing anything for me. Yep, so we'll pop that, bring out the Rhymeheart, and now we kind of have our Vanadium line. Pop the Unicorn because we could just bring it back with the Birth. We get the Calarium. We also have Thrust into another Arrival. Because again, I'm not really playing any board breakers. At this point, I don't think I was even playing Talent. Okay, so we'll bring back the Visas. They're going to fuse again into Dragos Stapelia. Now they'll pop the Rhymeheart. Use this for the Amritara. They're going to negate that. So this looks pretty bad, but we're going to banish to bring out the Astrolaud. So now we finally have something that could swing over. We'll pop the Dragos Stapelia, activate the Grass, and we're going to mill a ton of cards here. And we milled pretty well, and so our opponent just scoops. We were going to be able to trigger a bunch of Tearlaman's fusions off of that as well. Okay, this time we were going first, and if I remember correctly, I think we set up a pretty nasty first turn board. Hand is pretty solid, so kind of as expected with the Vanadium, that whole combo thing. You hate to see the Primitive Planet in your opening hand, but we'll search for it anyway. Okay, so we'll get the Obsidian to get Calarium. This is not the most optimal start. Now I really don't have a way to get Reichardt back out of the graveyard, so typically don't like to pop Reichardt with the Vanadium Rhymeheart without having another Arrival or something, but we still got plenty of plays here. And I am playing the Excel Stardust, not the Crimson Dragon in this build. So now we have Dissipator, these two to go into the other Visas. I'm going to search for the Primitive Planet because we can grab the Rhino Heart and now banish the... before we do that, bring out Lightheart because Amritara is a Visas on the field, but banish the Vanadium Obsidian to special out the Rhino Heart to get now going down the Tearlament path here. We have Kit Cal. Pop our own Kit Cal to send it to mill a few more. And we're just going to go straight into the Rukalos. So trigger the Rhino, send Sharon. Didn't really have to do that. So now we're doing the normal Cross Sheep, Astrolaud play. Neek to go into Barone. Bring back Visas. Link those two off into SP. So it could have gone into Apollousa if I brought back either one of these, the Rhymeheart or the Rhino Heart. but I brought back Visas just because I like having that in the graveyard for follow-up. However, Visas and Visas Amritara are both the same name on the field, and Apollousa needs monsters with different names except tokens, so I would have had to use, you know, one of these three, which obviously I did not want to do, so... Alright, playing against a... looks like a pure Lightsworn deck, and I probably allow this guy to draw and resolve a lot more of these Charge of the Light Brigade and Solar recharges than I should have, but one of my biggest fears was Judgment Dragon. I need to hold on to a negate for that, and this I just couldn't let go through as well. Sending and drawing. So yeah, like I said, I'm letting a lot of these draw cards resolve, which it ends up working out, but maybe not the best idea. So I'll negate the Weiss there, send the Rukalos. Yeah, so Judgment Dragon comes out. I had to negate that, and luckily that ends their turn. So Barone will attempt to pop that. They're going to negate with their counterspell. Or, oh, sorry, this is a normal trap. Okay. Dissipator just bringing out Reinhardt for extra damage and a little follow-up with the reframing. So I forgot about this effect. Allows them to mill, and then they pop cards, which that was truly unfortunate. So now we do not have lethal damage. It's running very low on time, as you can see from how long my first turn was, and as well as theirs, timing out my disruptions. But bring out Kaleido Heart here, and again, running very low for time. What I should have done was the exact opposite of what I just did there, so learn from me, kids. I should have spun this back because the field spell can protect itself from destruction by removing counters. So I'm attempting to pop it with the field spell, and I'm spinning this one back. Okay, actually, you know what? So this one has protection as well. I'm just reading this now. But regardless, running very low on time, just clicking buttons at this point. Either way, we're in a pretty good position here. And again, I do slightly misplay, so we go into Apollousa now. But the thing is, that turns off my reframing. Now I can't use the reframing because I got rid of the Barone, which didn't have a negate anymore anyway. But they're using a ton of monster effects in this deck. I've played it myself, and Apollousa just seemed like the best option. We also still have the Sulliek, so Sulliek can negate now the Judgment Dragon. Send the Kaleido Heart. It's going to bring it back. It's going to shuffle a card. As well as we're going to trigger another fusion here. Yeah, so we're still sitting pretty, honestly. Alright, going first again against a Labyrinth deck. And this is all playing perfectly into my hand, literally, with the thrust here. And again, I got a little bit too excited with this, so we're going to grab the talent. And my plan is to steal the Lady, which is a level 8, and just normal summon the Meek, bring out Barone to floor, pop the card they just set, and I already have the reframing in my hand, so on the next turn, worst case scenario is they set 2 to 3 traps, and we have 2 Omni negates, essentially. Reframing can negate one of those traps, or a monster, and Barone would be able to negate a spell trap monster, whatever they end up coming at us with on the next turn. Now, the issue is I went straight for the talent to grab the Lady, and now that's shutting off my Unicorn from being freely special summoned onto the field. Not the biggest deal in the world, because they're still in a very bad spot here. However, it just basically prolongs the game because I'm not drawing monsters, as you'll soon see, and it's just we don't have enough damage to finish them off. So, as I said, they set 2 traps here. Delmaxi, not going to respond to that at all because I can't really summon anyway. So Barone will try to pop one of the set traps. We'll negate the big welcome. Arias will trigger. That's just going to, again, prolong the game here. I'm not going to negate that, because the other trap resolving, it's still getting popped. Battle phase will wipe that out. Just activate the scream, because why not? Alright, and they'll just pass. And we're just going to start poking for 3,100. Alright, so now we have Reinhardt for a little extra damage. Well, exactly lethal, actually. They're going to Veiler. Thrust for the grass, just for the lulls. And we have game. Okay, so this is not a very interesting duel, but I just put it in here because I wanted to show off the Loka Samsara trap card that we talked about in the beginning of this video. And we end up playing against a Blue Eyes player, and essentially we use that Loka Samsara, bring out the Arise Heart like we talked about, and that it literally just stops their entire turn. So we'll speed through this, the normal sort of Manadium combo here. Again, not the most optimal version of it, because we did have to pop the Reichardt and that whole thing again. But I do love how the Obsidian does synergize with all of the level 4 heart monsters, being able to freely special summon them. Okay, so as soon as I see them normal summon the White Stone of Ancients, going to banish. And again, banishing is only till the end phase. We're banishing Visas Amritara, but that once again shuts off our Manadium reframing. So maybe not the most optimal, because knowing, you know, a Blue Eyes player, if they had like a Raigeki or something like that, we're kind of in a tough spot. I mean, Rukalos would come back, but just based off of the playstyle of this deck, I know they're most likely going to try to link this card off immediately, and it ended up paying off, basically. So we're going to mill. Tier Limit Cash will mill again. Go into Kit Cal just for some extra damage. Send Kit Cal to mill. Bring out Tier Limit Kashtira for extra attack damage. And we have lethal. Alright, pretty solid hand here. Okay, grabbing the field spell for the Visas. Imaginings to reveal that Visas we just added. Draw 2. Shuffle back 1. Scream's gonna mill. We actually hit something there. Send Havnis. Kit Cal, I think we're just gonna turbo out. Yeah, we're gonna just turbo out the Rukalos for some protection. Probably already were able to be hit with Nibiru, but regardless. So now we have Barone, and we're going to do full Kashtira combo in this one now as well. So we're going to have a Rise Heart, Rukalos, and Barone, plus a Droplet in the back row. Scream and Tier Limit Kashtira as well to potentially trigger a Kaleido Heart Fusion on our opponent's turn. and we are playing against a stun deck, it appears. So this is interesting because we're going to banish, and I'm going to attach the card we just banished, and we actually hit the one card that could have potentially... It would have hurt us. I think we still had this game in the bag, but that would have just, once again, like the Labyrinth matchup, that would have just prolonged this game, and it would have been a little bit more annoying. So we hit the Gozen match, which was huge. Now on this turn, field spell, 3 monsters in defense. We pop the 1 Day of Peace. I now have a banish with the Arise Heart and a pop with Barone, so we're just going to clear the entire field and go for game there. Alright, so not going to lie to you guys, we did win, as you can see, a lot of the coin tosses in this this little run here with this deck. Living Kashtira to mill. Didn't really hit anything there. And technically with the Theosis we could... Oh, so we actually do get hit with Nib in this game. Forgot about that. Little jump scare. So, like I was going to say, we could have actually gone full Arise Heart with just the tier cash on the field with the Theosis. Special summon out the Fenrir, add the Rise Heart, level 4. And, you know, boom boom, you have a Rise Heart. So, as you can see from some of these duels, like I said, we're in a lower rank. It's been a while. Not in my normal, like, diamond. I've never really grinded to master. But, we are playing against a Cyber Dragon player. Not the most skilled either. So, negate the Seeger. That's really the only threat on the field. Kick Cal. Field spell to pop the Clockwork Knight. That card's just annoying. For Kalos. Now we're going to banish for the Astrolaud. And Astrolaud's going to pop and get huge. 5,000 attack. And we're going to be 900 off of lethal damage. I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe if we dropleted, that would have been enough for game. My math could be off there, but regardless. So the Rampage Dragon. This is really like the OTK machine of this deck. So they're going to attempt to pop the droplet, so we might as well use that anyway. Negate that, and now this duel is pretty much over. At this point, our opponent's just flailing. Really unfortunate. We milled... Well, we sent one Meek and we milled another one, so... That whole line is kind of done. Looks like we still have a pretty solid board coming together here, though. Get an extra draw off the Reichardt. Go straight into Barone. Cross Sheep. Astrolaud. Bring back the Meek. Apollosa. Yeah, now we're going to do the Arise Heart line. That's really been my favorite thing about this, like, whole just mishmash of a deck with all these different Visas archetypes, is that if you play the cards correctly, you can still go down all of the lines. Technically, if you have enough gas, you can go down all of the different lines of summoning the boss monsters. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning, short little deck profile thing, the Vanadium's boss monster is basically Barone in Master Duel. Just the situation we're in, that Prime Heart is not that great of a card. It's fun for OTKs and stuff like that. My preference is still Scareclaw Triheart if you're just looking to play a going second deck. So the Dracoback will spin back the Arise Heart, which is kind of unfortunate. And they Chain Link block the Diabellstar, which I would have probably negated, but that's fine. We're just going to negate the original Sinful when they activate it. And at this point, okay, so they're going to hit us with Grass, but we also play a 60-card deck, so they didn't really mill that much there. And we survived the turn. Our opponent was holding out for a while on their normal summon. That duel definitely could have gone either way. I was also running very low on time once again, just because the whole Vanadium, whatever you want to call this, combo is very long. And I think I even had to toggle completely off just until they flipped over the original Sinful Spoils. Oh, and also, last comment on that previous duel. They probably should have just spun back the Barone, and then I couldn't have negated, but whatever. Anyway, on to the next one. So we're going to get hit with a couple of hand traps in this one. I remember this duel. So Reichhardt gets ashed. That's fine, because we actually do have a rival in our hand. Now, Lightheart's going to get hit with Imperm. And we actually already have the field spell also in our hand, so not that our opponent could have known that. Once again, going back to the synergy, as our opponent scoops there, Tearlament Scream will trigger off of a Tearlament or a Visa Starfrost being summoned, so just ties in to each other a little bit as well there. Okay, looks like we finally lost a coin toss. Ragnarika, new deck to Master Duel. No idea what it does. I have played Rika in the past. I know some people are using these two in tandem with each other. This looks more like a pure Ragnarika. They end on this card, which I don't think is any form of disruption. Let's see here. If your opponent activates a monster effect, neither player can activate effects of monsters in the hand. So, in general, this is not a great card to just end on solely this. However, once again, not that our opponent could have known this, that actually kind of hurts my deck a lot, with Reinhardt and Visa Starfrost wanting to activate in the hand to pop on the field. So kind of unfortunate for us, but we'll chain that to them activating this effect. Summon out Kaleido Heart, spin that back. Imaginings to reveal the Visa. Shuffle back the Snow. Unicorn, grab Theosis. And yeah, we were going to bring out a Rise Heart and most likely have lethal damage there. Sometimes this deck does feel like it has a lot of gas. The only real issue you run into, the Visa Samsara does kind of solve some of those issues, but excuse me, the issues you run into is that most of your level 4 heart monsters want to be normal summoned, right? So you kind of have to pick and choose which line you're going to go down, but a lot of times I think most people are not expecting me to be playing all 4 different variants, so there are times where, like I said in previous duels, with the Obsidian being able to special summon out another one of those to just to keep cooking after your opponent tries to shut down one of your plays. Okay, Rukalos. Use those two for Cross Sheep. Rival, bring back the Reichardt. Trigger the Cross Sheep. Not the greatest end board here. Just kind of what we had to do in that situation. Trigger the Scream, which actually does trigger a fusion. Just going to add the tier limit cash. And yeah, not a very exciting one. So let me know what you guys think, how you would play the deck differently. Definitely let me know in the comments. I'll tell you right off the bat, I would definitely not be playing Tryhard in this sort of a build. Overall, I probably wouldn't be really playing this deck at all. There are certain archetypes in the Visas lore that synergize a lot better with each other. Namely, like Vanadium and Tearlament, I think work very well together. Or like, you know, Kashtira and Scareclaw kind of pair a little bit better together. But regardless, this deck was a lot of fun to play, and at certain times it feels like I said, it has endless amounts of gas to just push through whatever your opponent hits you with. And in general, it was just cool seeing that there is enough synergy between all these four very different archetypes with each other. I guess I would have to say the addition of Visas Amritara, you could potentially call this like the glue of all the different spells and traps that mention Visas, which, again, from other than Kashtira, for the most part, all these other, you know, spells and traps from the other archetypes do mention the name Visas Starfrost in their text. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Maybe I'll try to do a video. It was kind of the idea of this video to try to get a game where I summon all four of the Heart boss monsters. So maybe I'll do a follow-up where we actually pull that off, or like a live stream or something like that. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.